Good morning, 10th grade. Welcome back. We are going to be um, working through chapter 23, section 5 today. We're going to talk about China and Japan today, and we'll move on to the rest of the world tomorrow. Let me get this up here. We're going to talk about remember we're in the Cold War period, so we're following World War II. We've already talked about the fact that China before World War II was in the middle of a civil war between Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek. And Chiang Kai-shek's forces were forced to flee mainland China and go to the island of Taiwan, while Mao Zedong took over the leadership of China's main government on the mainland. Mao Zedong is a communist, or was a communist, and he started a communist dictatorship and a thoroughly atheistic state. Now, what does that mean? Well, that basically means that they reject the existence of God, and all religion is forbidden. Okay, two things that Mao Zedong did to promote communism in China and to hopefully make the Chinese existence a better one is the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. We're going to talk about these each, okay? So, what was the Great Leap Forward? Well, first of all, the Great Leap Forward was meant to improve both agriculture and industry. Agriculture and industry. So, in agriculture, what they did was they grouped all the farms together. You didn't have individual ownership of farms, everybody, it was a collective, okay? So, in that collective, everybody worked and helped do all the work of the farm. The problem is that nobody has any incentive to work and work harder. And that's part of the problem with communism and why the whole philosophy doesn't work that well, because it doesn't give anybody incentive to work harder than the person beside them. So, in agriculture, the Great Leap Forward actually led to a famine because nobody wanted to work hard enough to get there. And in that famine, it is estimated that between 20 and 30 million people died of starvation. The other part of the Great Leap Forward was the industry. And China used to be really very forward in the steel industry. And that steel industry ended up falling into pieces because of the Great Leap Forward, because they hired a bunch of people who didn't know what they were doing. So that was really a problem. That was in the 1950s. In the 1960s, we see the Cultural Revolution, and this was a revolution among the young people. It was promoted heavily among the young people that um, they should riot and do all these different things to promote um, communism among young people, among the youth of China. And it ended up resulting in a little bit of chaos and great economic decline in China. Um, Chairman Mao ended up dying in 1976. So he ruled for a good long time, and his successors seemed to be a little bit more realistic in their approach to communism. They didn't take it quite so strongly as Mao Zedong did. And as a result, they introduced things like free market reforms to China that helped them be able to trade with the rest of the world and produce enough food even to feed all of their people. And that worked for a while. There was a whole series of rulers from 1976 to current day. There was at least four. Um, and they just, little by little had made some reforms. Well, it got to the point in 1989 that the reforms really weren't happening fast enough for some of the people in China. So some of the people, particularly students, got tired of waiting around for more reform. And they demonstrated in Tiananmen Square. It was a very peaceful demonstration. I do remember watching this on television as a child. Um, it was a peaceful demonstration, and they were just asking for more reform from their government. Maybe not taking the wisest approach by demonstrating that way, but they were not causing a big problem. Anyway, what happened was what you see down here in the picture on the left. The government got tired of waiting around for them to quit, and they rolled tanks in, and about 2,000 demonstrators were murdered in Tiananmen Square. These people were killed by their own government. And I remember thinking at the time that that was so sad, that these were young people that really had not even had a chance to live their lives. Even today, the Chinese government does not allow Christians to worship openly and freely in China. They have to worship in secret churches behind closed doors and make sure that nobody finds out about them. The church in China is growing. It is vibrant. It is very much alive, but it is in secret, and they cannot let it be known that they're worshiping the Lord behind those closed doors. All right, let's move on to Japan. After World War II, Douglas MacArthur became the real leader of Japan. Hirohito was still the emperor, but he had openly acknowledged the fact that he was not to be worshipped, and he really was on the decline in popularity as well as in age. So he was kind of stepping back, and Douglas MacArthur was taking over. And he did things like helping them write a new constitution that's very much like the American Constitution, restarting their economy and helping them establish a stable democracy. And that political stability and economic success really do go hand in hand. When you need political stability, you first have to have economic success. And in order to have that economic success, you need to be promoting political stability. They kind of feed off of each other. So the new constitution that Japan got would not allow them to have an army of any kind. And even today, Japan has very minimal military. Of course, they excelled in heavy industry. So things like the manufacture of well-built and fuel-efficient cars, development of electronics. These things helped promote Japan's industry and bring it back from the verge of collapse to being a thriving economy today. And today, Japan is still one of our closest allies in the United States. And that's where we're going to end today. But first, one more word. If you have been watching my videos, which very few of you have been, I can see that from the numbers on YouTube. I appreciate it because I work very hard to get these done for you and try to make life easier. But, well, because I'm seeing that my videos are not being watched, what I'm going to do today is, if you have watched all the way to this point, you take these secret words and use them to answer the first question on the quiz. When you write Mickey Mouse on the first quiz question, don't even have to answer the rest of them. I'll give you an automatic 100 on the quiz because you watched the video. Those that didn't, they'll have to answer the quiz questions. Don't tell them. Don't give away my secret. All right, I hope you have a good day.